CBA. Well, one person who closely is watching the governance in the financial planning and wealth management sectors is Connie Mckeage, the Chief Executive Officer of OneVue, and she joins me now. Connie Mckeage, thanks very much for joining us. Now, you sort of see this industry in an overall way, but you don't have a vested interest in that you don't have financial products, you aren't a product manufacturer, and you don't have financial planners?
That's right.
Is that right?
We sit in the independent space, which is actually quite important in terms of looking at the conflicts in the industry.
So what did you make of, say, this Bank of Queensland compensation payout today? Will that be the beginning of the end of the bad old days?
Well, that's a very good question, because I'd like to start by the one sentence that really stuck out at me in the ASX release. And it says, the financial impact is not material to the Bank of Queensland. I think that is the most important statement across the whole thing, because it doesn't talk about the emotional impact. It really does say that for the bank, it didn't have a detrimental financial impact, but for clients, it's probably a small win. It's hugely distracting to the industry. We have so many interesting and exciting products and services to bring to people. And here we are with a bank 5 years later, having fought this only to result in a settlement. But the clients...
Sorry, just on that, yes. So some justice 5 years later. But
correct.
You're saying that from the bank's point of view, all they look at it is with a number in front of it. And does it have a material impact? And certainly CBA, when they finally got to do their sort of mea culpa on their internal financial planning scandal, they sort of talked about it will not have a material impact on the bank's bottom line.
Well, this is, I think, part of what we have to do as a financial services sector, is that I think we're starting to be seen very much just about numbers. And loyalty and brands and things like that, the financial services sector as a whole, I think, is going to come under threat now by organizations outside of financial services that care more in the eyes of the market for their customers than financial services companies. And I think that's unfortunate.
Like who?
Well, if you're looking at what's happening overseas, people like Tesco, if you're looking at what's happening with people like Coles and Woolworths, they're all very discreetly getting into wealth now, and they've realized that what they've got is a brand that people can start trusting, a brand that allows them to diversify in their products and services. And so the threat isn't coming in financial services from each other. It's coming from people who actually understand the customer and value their emotions just as much as the numbers.
Well, that's a very interesting point, because in fact we've seen just in recent days real estate giant Ray White also saying they're going to have some sort of a planning arm. Now, yes, they've been in mortgages and loans as a separate but still a subsidiary of the family company.
Yes.
They're now going into financial planning. I did have a joke with Sam White to say, well, they're just above journalists or just below journalists on the respectability scale, so we can't call the pot calling the kettle black, etc. But, I mean, will they be trusted, real estate agents, more than financial planners who are already in the market?
Well, look, I think my view on this is probably a little bit controversial in that I have some sympathy for them. Because the reality is that when we're looking at the financial services sector, their announcement got very petty, in my view. They didn't really say, I think their biggest mistake was probably going out to market in public a little bit too early before they thought it all through. But when you look at what they're doing, they have the same issue that the people I said outside of financial services have. They already have a connection with some clients. If the clients come along and say they'd like a package of loans or something, could they help them? Are they better off trying to do this? It's really about disclosure and honesty. It's not whether somebody should be in a market or outside of a market, and the behaviors that are driving the way that they're remunerated. That's the key.
All right, there's a couple of really key issues that I want to get to, and I know we're going to run out of time. We had a scathing Senate inquiry post the CBA internal scandal. But what about improved training levels? I mean, everybody has talked about that really needs more than either a couple of days or a couple of weeks training to be a proper financial planner who people can trust for their wealth management in retirement.
Well, we were talking about this in our office today.
Is it improving?
No, I don't think it really is. I think that because of the volume, the superannuation sector is so big. You need such a large number of people to support it. But I do think we need to differentiate between a product provider and a true financial advisor. And what we're seeing is the demise of the product provider. And I think that's fantastic, unless they're stating that's what they're doing. With an advisor, though, there's a lot of them that went into the market for exactly the right reasons. They care about the wealth of their customers. We see them, we deal with them every single day, and unfortunately they're getting tarnished with the same brush.
All right, and just really briefly, there's this huge shift we're seeing into self-managed super funds.
Yes.
Can other funds, industry funds, etc., retail funds, can they compete properly with those SMSFs?
Oh, I don't think they're going to compete. I think they're going to complement them. When you look at it, some of them are losing hundreds of millions of dollars, in some cases over $1 billion to self-managed super funds. The reality is, again, if they look after their members or their clients, it doesn't matter what the product is. They should just extend the range and have SMSFs as part of the suite.
All right, Connie Mckeage, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you,
From OneVue. Appreciate it.